I'll call the roll and then we'll proceed. Oh, wait a minute. We need to hear from anybody from the public. And I have on the list Frank Chase.
Frank Chase, 24 Roxbury Road, New Britain. I've emailed all of you our newest narrative. Hard copies were distributed last night. I have extra copies if needed. Part one from our narrative last night covered resolutions 36236 and 36258-1, covering the missing $4 million and the mayor's related behavior. Both resolutions, 1 month apart, were signed by the mayor and the city clerk. Where's the money continues to be our mantra. As we see in the mayor's proposed budget, fiscal year 2024, the capital improvement program, the partial funding expenditure schedule for the Allen Street Project Number 2 construction costs have been pushed out to fiscal years 2026 and 2027. This has been a recurring behavior pattern with this mayor over the years, kicking the Allen Street project down the road with no real funding initiatives in place. We will continue to demand that Erin Stewart redeem herself and prioritize, fund, and complete the required upgrades for the Allen Street storm sewer system. It appears the funding shell game continues. Our state and city officials have known about this compromised system for years. As we have shown over the years, millions of dollars have flowed into New Britain from our federal and state partners. Erin has allocated not $1 for the Allen Street Project Number 2. The mayor has written, the Allen Street Project Number 2 is our most pressing need. Meanwhile, she allocates this found money for many other projects, ignoring and neglecting the property owners and residents on Allen Street and in the surrounding neighborhoods. Funding ingenuity is required to complete the Allen Street Project Number 2, as the mayor has done with other higher-profile projects, such as the Beehive Bridge enhancements, Stanley Reception Pavilion, Public Works Operations Center, etc. Bonding the Allen Street Project Number 2 with other immediate infrastructure needs is the fiscally responsible way to fund critical projects, to preserve and to keep our neighborhoods safe and flood-free. For the past 30 years, city officials have underestimated and misjudged the dangerous conditions created by climate change and the resulting severe weather, while ignoring and neglecting the required storm sewer upgrades on Allen Street. Taxpayers vote for and ask our city officials to keep us safe and to ensure our quality of life. Our neighborhood, block, and property resembles a third world country during these flooding events because of an outdated, undersized, deteriorating storm sewer system. All of our city officials, past and present, are responsible for this ongoing fiasco. Please step up and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chase.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr.
Sir, I just want to clarify again that this public hearing at present that started at 6:45 is related to 3 items. Item 1, Resolution 364062, a vetoed resolution by the mayor. Item number 2, to accept a report of the Standing Bonding Subcommittee for a $2,500,000 appropriation. And item 3, to act upon that appropriation. It is not the public hearing for the regular meeting, which will occur after this. To avoid any confusion or accusations of mistransparency, I want to make sure that the public who are here are speaking first related to those 3 items and those 3 items alone.
Thank you, Mrs. Smedley. Point well taken. I believe the speaker was talking about bonding in his remarks.
About water?
Not the $2.5 million.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Beata Adamas.
Yep, but I don't have anything for a special meeting.
The regular meeting, I understand. Thank you. All right. Any other speakers for our special meeting? As noted by the items listed by Alderman Smedley. Any other speakers? Any other speakers? Hearing none, public participation for the special meeting is closed. A motion to adjourn? So moved. Public participation is over at 6:51, and our special meeting will resume in a few moments. Regular meeting, I'm sorry.
You have to roll.
Oh, yeah. What are you doing there? Yeah, I know.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order, this is a special meeting of the Common Council. Time is 6:53 PM. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderpersons McNamara.
Here.
Smedley.
Present.
Sanchez.
Here.
Benoit Saavedra.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Russell. Barbosa. Hargraves. McAdam. Gibson. Scott. Connors. Malinowski. Pabon.
Excuse.
Santiago. 14 present, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Mayor's warrant to the clerk of the city of New Britain.
Madam Chair.
Alderman Smedley.
I make a motion to waive the reading of the warrant.
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Santiago. All those in favor of waiving the reading of the warrant, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, Mr. Clerk. We'll take up the first item, Alderman Santiago. So because this is, sorry, let me just, the charter states that when you have a veto that's on deck, the next meeting, whether it be a special meeting or a regular meeting, the veto is the first thing that's taken up. So I will turn this to Alderman Santiago.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt Mayor veto notwithstanding item number 36406-2,
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Smedley.
and I urge adoption.
Okay?
May.
Yep.
Thank you, Your Honor. Through you. I got a little sign here to say, just kind of some little clarifications. I appreciate the discussion with this veto, but I must respectfully address some misconceptions and provide some clarity on certain points. First, in the veto letter, it was questioned why certain language was included in Chapter 17, since the chapter pertaining to park land. However, it's important to note that this section was selected by the mayor's own corporate counsel office. In response to the past concerns about counsel not reaching out to corporate counsel's office, I personally met with corporate counsel and explained my desire to have all executed contracts be reported to the Common Council, specifically regarding the purchase and sale of city properties and tax modifications agreements. It was the mayor's department that chose these specific locations to amend the ordinances to allow for this increase in chose these specific locations to amend the ordinances to allow for this increase in transparency. In addition, it was pointed out that we should already receive reports from the mayors regarding property transactions, not specific to park lands only. In Section 2-770 of the Code of Ordinance, however, despite the ordinances, such reports are not provided. In regards to the supposed lack of consistency on the council's agenda, this is not a reflection of incompetence, but rather the council's right to ensure clarity and transparency for our constituents. In the council's wishes to expand upon this title description on its own agenda, as we are free to do so. In regards to transparency, it seems very odd that we are being fought on this resolution if there were no issues with being transparent. However, I do want to clarify some very misleading things and replace some misinformation with facts. It is crucial to address the discrepancy between resolutions and contracts. The Common Council does not receive actual contracts for sales, lease of city properties, or for tax modification agreements. In fact, when we request contracts, we're consistently told that a contract isn't even started until the council, by resolution, authorizes the mayor to negotiate the contract. Now, if you're implying that in the charter, section 4-2I, that we should actually be seeing and voting on the contracts, not just a resolution to allow the mayor to negotiate a contract, perhaps we need to revisit this entire process, because we have been doing this wrong for years. Probably a decade. Receiving a resolution with limited information is not the same thing as receiving an actual contract, with all the terms and the conditions included. Going forward, we will need to adjust the way we handle these transactions to ensure that the council is voting on the actual contract and not just the ability to allow the mayor to negotiate. In addition, contracts are confidential until all parties sign off and the deal is fully executed. Which means the public does not have the access to the information. However, once executed and finalized, a report should be returned to the council with the full executed contract as a matter of public record and open government. There should be nothing to hide there. There's a receipt for transactions, and my mom always told me, always get a receipt for what you bought, and for what you're charged for. In addition, the veto letter mentioned 2-25 of the Code of Ordinance that all the persons shall have access to public records. Contrary to this statement, it's evident that not all council members are treated equally when it comes to access to information. Certain alderpersons, especially those not aligned with the mayor's slate, often find themselves sidelined and disregarded in their request for crucial information. In fact, I can attest firsthand to the obstacles faced in certain information. Recently, despite multiple attempts to reach out to the departments, including emails, face-to-face discussions, and even a petition, there are still no responses. This experience is not isolated. It reflects a broader pattern of information obstructions that undermines the transparency and accountability essential to effective governance. It's disheartening to see such barriers erect between elected representatives and the information necessary to fulfill their duties to their constituents. As representatives of the people, we have a responsibility to ensure that information is readily available and accessible to all council members regardless of their affiliation. We know our job. The people of the city of New Britain elected us to safeguard their best interests. The fact that we are asking for transparency on a simple thing that does not come before the council regularly, and we are met with such resistance, shows me that there is a problem. Why are you fighting this if there is nothing to hide? Information is for all. It does not belong to you or me. It belongs to the resident of the city of New Britain, and they deserve respect, honesty, and facts. I urge you to reconsider your stance and take concrete steps to address the issues. Transparency and open communications are fundamental to a functioning democracy, and it is essential that all Common Council members have equal access to the information they need to serve their community effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other alderperson wish to address those statements? Alderman Smelty?
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, Mayor, I just want to also address some of the topics that my colleague discussed regarding transparency. First of all, council-wise, transparency, moving forward, and I do intend to read a letter into the record at a later date, but the use of the Common Council letterhead has been misused recently, and colleagues of this council don't approve of that. There hasn't been signatures from both sides, so transparency doesn't stand when there's publicly released information on our letterhead to start. Second of all, you mentioned that contracts, or the colleague mentioned that contracts are not shared with the council. It is the council's duty, as you identified in the section of the charter, to approve these contracts and/or these sales of property. If you read further into the charter, 5-3B, to sign all deeds, and this is duties of the mayor following us, to sign all deeds and all written contracts of the city approved by the common council except as otherwise provided in the charter. So it is the mayor's duty, after we approve it, to then sign them and manage them. Section D of this same section says to see that all contracts and agreements within the city are faithfully kept and performed. Furthermore, there is language that allows the council to subpoena any records, files, or employee officer of the city to an investigation by 2/3 vote of the council. So if anyone on this council has any problem with the way that contracts or business are handled, there is language, there is a mechanism to handle that properly through this. The frivolous press releases through a online blog and/or appointed articles to a reporter with the Herald don't do you justice to solve any idea that you think there isn't transparency in our government.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address this?
Will, Your Honor.
Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra?
I said this when it came to us before it was referred. I said it at the committee level, and now it's back here, and of course, we're going to vote against overriding your veto. But I think the majority caucus is struggling with the difference between the responsibilities of the legislative branch versus the responsibilities of the executive branch. And when one tries to cross over into the other, there is problems. I also believe that the majority party is using the word transparency to try and make insinuations that there is a lack thereof, which there isn't. And if there is, I'd like a concrete example. Now, I asked that also at the committee level. And every example that someone from the majority party gave about the lack of transparency had zero to do with any contracts. Not one person from the majority party listed a problem that they had with a contract, pointed to an example of any contract that differed from what the council had passed. What they did was what Alderman Santiago just did, was list grievances of trying to get information and feeling like they were being stalled in the receipt of their information. So at this time, I would like to levy a grievance on behalf of the Rudd Caucus that the people who work for the council, the 2 employees that work for the council, work for all 15 members of the council, not just the majority party. So when a member of the Rudd Caucus tries to call the office and ask for assistance in writing a resolution or looking up some information for a resolution, the response is not, you do it, and I'll print it. The response is, yes, Alderman, because I work for each and every member of the city council. So let me just raise that as a concern that the Rudd Caucus has in terms of equity in being represented by staff who work specifically for the entire city council. But again, I want to point out there's differences between legislative branch of government and executive branch of government. I want to repeat that although we are not getting the final contract, what we are approving is every single aspect of the council within parameters. The mayor has the authority to up to $100,000 negotiate this contract. We know by saying that the mayor can't go above $100,000. When we have tax modifications, ad nauseum, we get the information on what is going to be contained and why in those things. It comes to the council, it gets referred to committee, it's discussed in committee, comes back to the council. The council has 3 bites at the apple all the time. So I do not understand why there is an inference to lack of transparency. We have 3 bites at the apple. Yeah, and I will talk more because the majority party also has 2 other resolutions to do the exact same thing in other areas that are going to be on the agenda this evening. And I will say, and I will bring it up when those resolutions come up, the majority party also erased from the ordinances the reference that the council had previously approved aspects to the contract. So, and it was said to me at committee, redundancy was the reason for it. And I say, well, if the majority party doesn't like redundancy, then why is this before us? Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra. Any other alderperson wish to address this? Alderman Connors.
Thank you, Your Honor. My microphone has been fighting me lately. I was just going to smack it lightly, and it doesn't want to.
Try it again.
I will hold it. All right. I'm just going to swap seats with Alderman McNamara here. Thank you much. Just wanted to point out at the
Can you please
committee
stand
level.
up, sir?
Sorry?
Stand up.
Oh, sorry. Just wanted to point out at the committee level, there was a robust discussion on the contracts resolution on this. There were friendly amendments offered. The concerns regarding redundancy were well heard. They're taken at, face value, and, we tried to address them through amendments. I do think the discussion there was comprehensive, informative. Folks came at it from a civil perspective, and just wanted to point out that I think the process, though we did not reach agreement, was perfectly, it was a civil and productive discussion. But that was all I had to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. And the other alderperson wish to address this item. Alderwoman Scott.
I just want to say that we are here and elected to serve the people that live here in New Britain. And because of that, we do need to have transparency. We're asking to have information because it is the best to serve the people that live here in New Britain for us to see this information. I don't think we should ever have to subpoena or beg for information because we're here to get the information for the people and be able to have oversight of everything that's happening here in the city. And another thing, I heard something in respect to what Alderman Santiago said already, that there were situations where certain people have asked for, older people have asked for information and have not received it. And that's just something that shouldn't be happening. So we do have to petition for things because we need this information, and we shouldn't have to be begging for it and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to make sure that, I mean, if there is, if we want to see contracts, then it shouldn't be a problem for us to see it. So we're here for the people.
Alderman Smedley.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and I know it's inappropriate to have a debate back and forth and ask questions, but anyone on this council has actually legitimately emailed the mayor's office, the mayor's chief of staff, any of her assistants, and/or any department head, I urge you to provide me that documentation and that proof in writing that someone has not responded to you. Show me the emails dated, stamped, date and time that someone has not responded to you. Show me, because I know you can't. Alderman Russell, as an example, sought out a contract unrelated to anything to do with anything big. It was the smallest contract, and he was provided with the documentation within 24 hours, a reasonable time frame.
Any other alderperson wish to comment? Mr. Clerk, we're calling the vote.
Could you clarify the vote?
So the vote is going to be, a no vote is going to be to sustain the veto, a yes vote is going to be to override the veto.
Roll call
Your
vote.
Honor, I believe
You want a roll call
I
vote?
believe you
Do I
missed
have
me. I had
three
something to
persons that
say.
are standing up? We're already calling the vote. Alderman Simpson, you're too late.
But he did say, he did have his hand.
I did have my hand up.
I'm calling-
Not started yet.
I'm calling for the vote. We have three people asking for a roll call, so Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll? Again, to clarify, a no vote is to sustain the veto. A yes
Transparency.
vote is to override the veto.
Alderpersons McNamara,
Yes.
Smedley,
No.
Sanchez. Yes. Beloin Saavedra.
No.
Simpson.
Yes.
Russell. No. Barbosa.
Yes.
Hargraves.
No.
McAdam. Yes. Gibson.
Nope.
Scott. Yes. Connors.
Yes.
Malinowski. No. Bowen's gone. Santiago.
Yes.
8-6, Your Honor.
Thank you. The veto is sustained. With that being said, we'll move into the resolution. Second item on this special meeting agenda is Alderman Smedley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 2.
Second.
Second by Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
And this is to accept the report of the Standing Bonding Subcommittee of the Common Council on Administration, Finance, and Law regarding the $2.5 million appropriation and bond authorization for the city's lead service line inventory replacement program.
Any questions or comments regarding this item? Alderman McNamara.
Thank you, Your Honor. we had this discussion in committee, and I just want to confirm for those listening that this bond authorization is subject to subsidy, federal subsidy, and a low-interest loan from the Clean Water Program of the state, so that it complies with, I believe, the EPA requirements for the lead pipe project, and it has a deadline of October of this year. So, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman McNamara. Are there any other questions or comments on this item? We do have counsel that's here to answer anything. Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Smedley, item 3.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 3.
I
Second.
have a second by Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
And this item will be to act on the report that we just received, to act upon the $2.5 million appropriation and bond authorization for the city's lead service line replacement program.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on this item? This is the action item, so it will be a roll call vote. I don't see any hands. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderpersons McNamara,
Aye.
Smedley,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Beloin Saavedra.
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Russell. Barbosa. Hargraves.
Yes.
McAdam. Gibson. Scott.
Yes.
Connors. Malinowski. Santiago.
Yes.
14-0, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Motion carries. Made by Alderman Santiago. I have a
Second.
second by Alderman Gibson. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. The time is 7:13 PM. We'll start public participation for the regular meeting next. Thank you.
Yeah, it was just, it did it. It did it the other day too, but I just have to be very, very kind to it.
Give us a minute.
We have all the events booked, and we've got the hotels. That's the most important part. I've got a friend who lives in Paris who, like all Parisians, is fleeing, and she's staying at her father-in-law's while he's in China. So we've got like a friend in a suburb, right? So like we've got a hotel, but we've also got a friend. Oh Jesus, right? The train unions. Well, Allison wants to get out of Dodge for like a couple of days and go to Brussels or try to go to Belgium or somewhere, just because Paris is going to be quite nuts. Come on.
Members and seats. All right, welcome all. This is the regular meeting of the Common Council for Wednesday, April 24th. And it is now 7:20, and we will begin public participation. Please remember, if those signed up or those who want to speak, state your name and address for the record, and limit your speaking time to 3 minutes. I will call from the list first, and then open it up to anyone who has not signed up, and then check if there's anyone calling in remotely. And I have a fresh list. And the first speaker is Frank Chase.
Frank Chase, 24 Roxbury Road. I've emailed all of you our newest narrative. Hard copies were distributed last night. I have extra copies if needed. Part 1 from our narrative last night covered resolutions 36236 and 36258-1, covering the missing $4 million and the mayor's related behavior. Both resolutions, 1 month apart, were signed by the mayor and the city clerk. Where's the money continues to be our mantra. As we have seen in the mayor's proposed budget, fiscal year 2024, the capital improvement program, the partial funding expenditure schedule for the Allen Street Project Number 2 construction costs have been pushed out to fiscal years 2026 and 2027. This has been a recurring behavior pattern with this mayor over the years, kicking the Allen Street project down the road with no real funding initiatives in place. We will continue to demand that Erin Stewart redeem herself and prioritize and fund and complete the required upgrades for the Allen Street storm sewer system. The funding shell game will continue. Our state and city officials have known about this compromised system for years. As we have shown, over the years, millions of dollars have flowed into Britain from our federal and state partners. Erin has not allocated $1 for the Allen Street Project Number 2. The mayor has written, the Allen Street Project Number 2 is our most pressing need. Meanwhile, she allocates this found money for many other projects, ignoring and neglecting the property owners and residents on Allen Street and in the surrounding neighborhoods. Funding ingenuity is required to complete the Allen Street Project Number 2, as the mayor has done with other higher-profile projects, such as the Beehive Bridge enhancements, Stanley Reception Pavilion, Public Works Operations Center. The list goes on. Bonding the Allen Street Project Number 2 with other immediate infrastructure needs is the fiscally responsible way to fund critical projects to preserve and to keep our core neighborhoods safe and flood-free. For the past 30 years, city officials have underestimated and misjudged the dangerous conditions created by climate change and the resulting severe weather, while ignoring and neglecting the required storm sewer upgrades on Allen Street. Taxpayers vote for and ask our city officials to keep us safe and to ensure our quality of life. Our neighborhood block and property resembles a third world country during these flooding events because of an outdated, undersized, deteriorating storm sewer system. All of our city officials, past and present, are responsible for this ongoing fiasco. Step up, please step up, and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next name, now it's your turn, Beata. Beata Adamus. Name and address, in 3 minutes, the floor is
Yep.
yours.
Good evening. My name is Beata Adamus, and I am from 39 Davis Street, New Britain. I am here looking for your support and help to resolve a problem that is growing in the Washington Park and surround areas. I did wrote email to the leaders of New Britain about at March 8, looking for help. We're kind of still in the same problem. Washington Park is transferring into the hub activities with adults hosting private parties with loud music, alcohol consumption, food grillings, and food sellings. When those events take place, streets become chaotic, cars overrun areas, disregarding parking regulation in all of the streets around the park. This is not only obstructs emergency vehicles access, but also poses a significant safety hazard to residents and visitors. And the next problem that we have, it is excessive speed of vehicles navigating through our neighborhood areas and the risk of our community, especially to the children who are involving in the parks, playgrounds, and basketball areas. And it is consistent source of anxiety for our parents and caregivers, knowing that their loved ones at the risk harm due to reckless driving. We are just looking for help and resolution for this problem. Thank you.
Thank you for calling attention to it. Our next speaker on the list is Peggy Lampkin.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Peggy Lampkin. I live at 20 Davenport Street, New Britain, Connecticut. I'd like to just ad-lib a little bit more about the Allen Street Project Number 2. I concur with my neighbor here. We would like a flood-free zone. There's no question about it. We are not flood-free zone. Our sewer system needs cleaning up. Allen Street and Davenport Street is like a ghetto. It's just being trashed. I've called the police several times on the corner of Allen and Stanley where the College West apartments are. There's parking signs there, but to no avail. I've gone down to the police department. I'm tired of living in my backyard like a trash zone, rats, mice, trash. We gotta do a better job. I was living in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I came back to help my mother and father transition home. What a mess. What a mess. My father died, he's 100, my mother's 95. Why should they have to live like that? You know better than that. Go there and see for yourself. Not one of you would like it. Another thing is I just would like for you all to know, I would like you all to work together as Congress people, number one, and that is, if we could have a website where you can just list all the businesses and the types and the names and the addresses and contact information and languages spoken to minority, if it's owned or not owned. The city should have a web page so that we can provide a section for the city businesses to register their businesses to be included on the page. I really don't know what we do have in terms of businesses in the city. That's all I want to address to you. I could probably give you a list a lot more, but these are the most important ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lampkin. Next name I have on the list is Jessica Giarratana.
Jessica Giarratana, work 27 West Main Street, New Britain. I just want to address what was said. I've worked for the Common Council for nearly 11 years under extreme harsh conditions, harassment for years. I have worked for both sides without bias. I'm 100% always in everything that I do for both sides, no matter who's in charge. I have never, ever once said, you do it. Never. That is not even in my DNA to ever say that. That is an outright, just a lie. And I am not going to sit here and be harassed by false information that I don't work for both sides. 11 years I've worked diligently for everyone. The situation that was brought up earlier was I received an email about a request of which referenced another council member, which then I immediately contacted via telephone and discussed the situation with that person. And that person said, oh, this was just a thought, we're not gonna do it. Or if we do it, I will let you know. And I said, okay, well, I'm just one person and I don't have time, I won't meet deadline if I'm the one to write it. And then they said, they would get back to me, but they would take care of it because I do not have enough time to write every single resolution being one person in the office. There is no bias here, and I would hope that some members would stand up and say that there is no bias, because I've worked hard for everyone. So to imply or just outright lie that I would say you do it, I have never once said you do it. That is not part of me. So I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate false narratives or bringing me into whatever fight that happens on this floor. If you want something, I always get it to you. If I can't get it to you, I tell you I can't get it to you. But this is not appropriate.
Thank you, Ms. Giarratana. The next speaker I have on the list is Aggie Klimas. I hope I said that right, Aggie?
Yes, correct. Klimas, yeah.
I'm getting better at it.
Great, thank you. Good evening. My name is Aggie Klimas. I reside at 182 Gold Street in New Britain. My family and I have been residents of New Britain for over 20 years, the last 15 of which at current address in the Washington Park neighborhood. We have moved to and stayed in New Britain on purpose, much to a dismay of friends and family who left New Britain as soon as they had an opportunity to do so. We stayed to be a part of the community and culture. But during the last several years, however, we've been seriously regretting and reconsidering this decision, as quality of life in the Washington Park neighborhood is rapidly declining. And consistently declining. My family and I always considered some of the inconveniences of living in the urban area as part of living in a city versus a town. And so we were patient and understanding, but currently we're kind of wondering if our patience has been taken for granted by everyone, including law enforcement in that area. When my children were growing up, we spent a lot of time in Washington Park, which then provided space to be enjoyed by children and families without a fear of being ran over by cars or motorcycles, racing down the street at full speed, or quads running up and down the grassy slopes. We didn't have to listen to language or inhale scents, but in those years, the presence of the law enforcement there in the park and in the area was consistent. And this is not the ancient history I'm talking about. This is a pre-pandemic time. In the recent years, our beloved Washington Park has been a hangout for anyone but children, especially on the weekends. And it pains me to say a place to avoid and stay away from after dark. Another point that I want to quickly to bring up is the parking situation in the area. Cars parked on the no parking anytime side of the streets are not being ticketed, and that's Gold Street, Carmody, Davis, you name it. The no parking anytime signs installed on each and every lamppost are being completely ignored, and people are not being ticketed. My family and I are worried that if this simple no parking rule is being ignored, what is the next rule that's going to become negotiable, right? I am a longtime resident of employee of Hartford, and so I've seen neighborhoods to decline and disappear due to such neglect. Another quick point is, as the warm weather approaches, we, the residents of the Washington Park area, are dreading the racing that's gonna commence very soon to decline of safety of children and families walking on the sidewalks and even people working in the front yards. Recently we had an accident when a person drove so fast that they couldn't take right on Carmody Street and slammed head on the lamppost. So I implore you to act upon our pleas and at least enforce the existing laws to save our Washington Park neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Aggie. Our next speaker is Philip Bach. Welcome. 3 minutes. State your name and address.
Thank you. My name is Philip Bach, resident of 80 Carmody Street. I'm here regarding the Washington Park. We live directly right across from it, and honestly, it's like once the warm weather, honestly, even in the winter, people will start parking on the no parking side, and it's like the sign's kind of fading away. Some people that are there don't only not speak English. Some people speak Spanish, Polish, whichever, but biggest problem is us being directly across from it is we get blocked in. People will drive their cars right in front of our parking bay, and it's like once we tell one person to move, another one comes in, and we've called the police station multiple times. Maybe had officers come down twice, maybe. Once recently, one started giving out tickets and people started getting out. But not only that, we're disturbed until sometimes at 2 in the morning with parties, people smoking, alcohol being consumed, and the loudness, the speeding. And we're just asking for your help to kind of get a public enforcement or something like that, kind of start watching the park and see what goes on, if this starts going downhill, what's next? Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Our next speaker is Juan Gomez. Is Juan? Here you go, Juan. Welcome, the floor is yours. Name and address?
My name is Juan Gomez, and I'm a resident of 157 Broad Street. I was the victim of a hit and run on Monday, April 15th. If it wasn't for my Lord and Savior, my quick thinking, I would not be here right now. I'm here today to not only explain what happened, but to confront the New Britain PD for the lies they have made about me. I just got home from school. I decided to walk to the store, grab a quick snack. I made it perfectly fine. On my way out from my right side, a Grand Honda Civic was speeding, hit me right, in my rib area. I was fine. Police arrived, they took my report, and that's pretty much it. People in the store attended to me. That's exactly how it happened. It was a big enough spectacle that it caught the attention of Eyewitness News, but they weren't as truthful as I expected. That brings me to my next point. I'm addressing not only the lies Eyewitness News has online, but the lies New Britain PD are making. Online, they have an article basically explaining what happened, and they're not at all truthful about it. They're saying at one point I was riding a bike. They're saying I ran into the road. They're just completely lying about it. And I just saw it a week ago, and me and my family were outraged that New Britain PD and Eyewitness News would lie about something this serious. This side, I'm frustrated, but there's a bit of relief knowing I'm able to stand here today and explain my side. This brings me to my final point. New Britain PD, some officers, they actually attended to me, they were nice, but other officers, New Britain PD, out of all people, they should know better not to lie about something this serious. I mean, just the other day, a kid was hit by a school bus. This is another point of crazy things happening, and New Britain PD is not taking any action to avoid it, nor just being truthful about anything that's happening. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm hoping that New Britain PD and some of you guys here today are able to make a change and make our streets safer.
Thank you, Juan. The next speaker on the list is Peg Messerschmidt.
My name is Peg Messerschmidt. I live at 6 Hampton Street here in town, and I'm here in support of the presentation by Mr. Chase, and just to say that it's not really surprising, but it is disappointing that the $4 million we were told was going to be there for getting this project on the road for new sewers, that it has been put off to 26, 27, it's disappointing. It's disappointing, and it's starting to make people question whether to stick it out. I know it's making me question whether to stick it out. So, I know it's hard for you guys. Money's always tight. you always kind of have to rob this account to pay that account, because there's never enough money to run a city. But this is the bones of the city. And this is for the people of the city. And we're the ones who pay for all the other stuff. So please get down to this. You gotta move faster on this. People are gonna start putting their homes up for sale. And pray they find a seller. A buyer, I mean. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Messerschmidt. That's all the names I have on the list. Are there any other speakers in the audience? Any other speakers? Any other speakers? Hearing none. Anybody remotely? One. Ready? Hello online. State your name and address, and the floor is yours.
Hello?
Hello. Please speak.
Oh, yes, I'm a commuter. My name is Denise Hyburn. I work at the local theater in New Britain. I'm on the board of directors, and I wanted to let you know that I'm just concerned about the safety of commuters in New Britain on bus lines and for reckless drivers. Someone hit my bus in New Britain on the corner of Stanley and East Street, and this woman just went through a red light, and our bus almost killed her, and it was very disturbing to the car. It was spun out of control and was going to fall, and and the woman, I'm sorry, I can't hear, but anyhow, the woman got out of the car and acted like nothing was wrong with her. She was obviously on something, and I think that the city should put up more patrolling or higher fines for accidents or people driving on the lanes, or try to fight back against reckless driving so everyone's safe. Maybe help children at the school crossings again with school guards and that sort of thing, and maybe put more cameras up so that these city documents or studies and see why these things happen. Luckily the woman's still alive, but I know as well as using buses and all that, it's not really safe at night at the bus stations. I don't feel safe. I always feel like I have to leave the city before it gets dark because there's not enough security at the bus stations. To keep fast track as well. So I just wanted to put that out there before to let you be aware that I've been harassed by strange people or men at the terminals and during broad daylight and at any time. So I don't go at any time. But I just wanted to if I have to, I can help the city. Myself, I would like to help the city as well to find ways to make driving safer for the children and drivers. And I know, like last year, I remember there was an elderly woman that got ran over and killed here in New Britain. So something needs to be done, and I hope that the city can find ways to find people driving recklessly, or find ways to make reckless driving stop, or reduce reckless driving at least. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you just restate your name and address for the record?
Denise Hyburn, and I'm a commuter. I live in I volunteer in Britain on Main Street, and I live in West Connecticut.
Thank you very much. Thanks for calling in. No other remote callers? Hearing none. the public participation portion of the meeting will come to a close. And I would like to invite any common council members to, I saw Ms. Saavedra's hand up first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two things, well, maybe more. First, it's inappropriate for you to have allowed a staff person to come to that podium and dress me down in a public forum when I was representing a concern brought to me by a fellow caucus member. And the majority party has spent the last several meetings dressing down our department heads, calling for a lack of transparency and a lack of them responding to you, yet you have not seen any department heads come to that podium to dress any of you down. Inappropriate that the council staff person came to that podium to dress me down. And me raising an issue about a caucus member of mine feeling that they were being ignored and refused help is not harassment. It's me drawing attention to an issue that was brought to me. Also, I will say I raised the issue somewhat with Alderman Santiago via email, and he did not respond to me. So you complained about sending emails out and not being responded to. I specifically sent Alderman Santiago my concern about having a frosty response from the staff person, and I was ignored. So I guess it works both ways, but when you feel ignored, it's significant, and you could dress down staff people for that. But when someone in my caucus feels ignored or disrespected, the staff person is allowed to come to that podium and dress me down. Totally inappropriate and unacceptable. That's the first thing I have to say. After that, to the young man who came, I am so sorry that incident happened to you. Our heart breaks. The council is grappling with various issues of speeding, distracted driving, and all sorts of different things that play with irresponsible drivers in the community. It is not specific to New Britain, although for us it is a New Britain-focused issue. I am very sorry the situation happened to you and for anybody who's been victimized by traffic accidents. I will say, I was sharing with my caucus earlier that I myself, driving up Victoria Road at the time that Slade was being dismissed, 3 middle school students were sitting in the middle of the road playing a game of chicken. Now, if I didn't live in the neighborhood and know to come very slowly up and over that hump, I could have run those kids over because they were purposely in the middle of the road playing a game of chicken to see who could stay there longer while a car was coming at him. Very scary. My son was in the car. We came to a complete stop and just waited till the kids left. So there's issues of pedestrian responsibility, which I'm not saying to you, young man, but there are issues of pedestrian responsibility and driver responsibility as well, and I'm glad to see that the mayor is starting a task force, Vision Zero, where we're going to be talking about various ways we could tackle the driving situation in New Britain. I want to thank the folks who came here to represent the issues at the Washington Park area. You and I was the person who did an email exchange with you, responded to the concerns that you sent, and you did come to a meeting to talk, but that was the meeting that devolved into somewhat of a riotous situation, and you didn't feel at that time comfortable to come and talk. So I want to thank you for coming out now and speaking. The chief of police and deputy chief are here, so they heard what you said. I did submit a petition on your behalf at a previous council meeting, so I'm sure there will probably be some extra patrols taking a look at Washington Park and what's happening in your neighborhood. So to the council, I just want to say that maybe we all need to take a deep breath here, okay? Because there's a lot of accusations flying in a variety of different directions. But I personally, as an elected official, have not harassed a single member. Calling into question someone's action or inaction is not harassment, and I will not be dressed down by an employee at this podium during a council meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Smedley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to address some comments that were made related to the accident on Broad Street and other recent accidents that have happened. And I'm going to start by reading what was sent directly to the media from the police department. And it says, on 4/15/2024 at approximately 2:46 p.m., New Britain police officers responded to the area of Broad and High Street on a report of a 15-year-old juvenile being struck by a dark-colored vehicle that left the scene. The juvenile sustained visible abrasions to his elbows and was treated by EMS on the scene. The juvenile was not transported to a hospital. At this time, it appears that based on the facts and circumstances of the investigation, the juvenile was at fault for the accident, as it was not determined that he as it was determined that he ran into the road and did not utilize a crosswalk. However, since the operator of the vehicle left the scene, the operator or he will be charged with 14-224B3 evading responsibility when identified. And the investigation continues is what is listed in that press release to the media. So there's a lesson here, and I don't mean to embarrass the young man who came up and spoke because, sir, it takes a lot to stand in front of public officials like this and state your case. So I have respect for you standing up and doing that, but I want to share a lesson with you. The media fills gaps. The media sensationalizes, and they make up their own story to fill those gaps when they need it. Where the bicycle came from, we don't know either. We all looked at each other puzzled when you said that. I looked at it puzzled when the media said it, right? So lesson one. Number two, bus versus the young man or the young person that got hit the other day. That happened on closed private property, the Creek School. It wasn't on the City of New Britain street, and there was policy and procedure that wasn't followed by the bus driver and or the student. So you can't put two and two together. It's apples versus oranges. Furthermore, to stand up here and make those statements that we did, we have to be careful because just earlier today, your legal parent or guardian was at the police department and agreed that based on the video evidence, what happened was what was sent to the media in that police report.
That's false. I did not agree.
Okay, we can talk after, but there was a realization that the video proved. We're not here to debate. So the other thing that I wanted to address was there's a petition in this evening from Alderwoman Scott for the list of businesses. We do have a website in the city. It's been up for approximately 8 years. It's visitnbct.com, where it actually does do all of that. It lists the businesses by category, shopping, dining, restaurants, whatever you would like to. And it's all up there, visitnbct.com. Feel free to visit it and check it out. It already exists. Thank you.
Thank you. Other responses, Alderwoman Barbosa.
A couple things to the residents that live in the Washington Park area. The same issues that you are dealing with, we are also dealing with at Chesley Park, and I'm hoping that we get the same fair treatment that Washington Park will most likely get. For the young kid, Juan, it does take a lot of courage to get up here, and there's always two sides to a story. It always gets falsified somewhere along the way. You stand your ground and you continue to tell your truth. For the back and forth between council and staff, it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. We are adults. If we can throw daggers, we should be able to receive daggers. We can't point at one and then get upset when it's thrown back in our faces. If we're going to work together for the city of New Britain, we're going to work together for the city of New Britain. We're not here for how somebody makes me feel. It's all about the people in New Britain. They're the ones that are dealing with issues, not us. They're the ones dealing with issues. Our job here is to serve them. So we need to get it together and we need to work together. Because this is turning into almost like a high school, a daycare center. We're here for one purpose, and the purpose is to serve the residents of New Britain. So we got to work together, the police department, the constituents, all of us. We're all one, and we need to stop individualizing ourselves. We are one team. We are one city, New Britain, and that's what we are here for.
Anybody? Okay. Alderwoman Scott.
Okay, so I kind of have a lot to say tonight. First of always, thank you, Frank, for coming and continuing your fight. It is like a third world country. I experienced it myself personally in my house with the flooding. And I feel like I am in a boat or I am in some place I should not be in. So it is a huge concern, especially with Allen Street. There are apartments there that people live on the first floor that are being flooded. We have so many concerns in the city with people being unhomed that it makes me outraged that we have this issue with the flooding and people not being able to upkeep their homes. The homeowners are suffering with keeping their insurance and all of this stuff. And then we have people who are renting the apartments who may be not being able to be housed either. So thank you two for coming and saying those things. And also Dr. Peggy spoke about it too, I believe, and because she lives in the area as well. And Dr. Peggy did bring up the petition that I put in tonight. And yes, we do have a website, but it is not in the form that I am requesting. So I am requesting improvements to what we have. So I'm requesting extra things so that it is identifying all of the businesses that are operating here in the city. We are losing businesses in this city. People are needing to leave because they can't afford to stay here. And I want to support small businesses and minority-owned businesses in the city. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Your petition says create an online database. Alderman, there's no back and forth.
Right. Create an online database that will do what I'm saying. And it's not doing that right now currently. So I just want to be clear of what I'm asking for. And I think you going back and forth with me does not pertain to what our Alderwoman just stated, that we need to be working together, and that's not really displaying us working together as a team, is it? So I'm trying to do something to improve things, and I'm being argued with about it. So moving on. Thank you, Jessica, for all of the work that you do. I don't want to get involved in whatever happened because I have nothing to do with it, but I think that we all agree that Jessica does an excellent job here, and she does try to help each and every single one of us out. And after she's helping each and every one of us out, it helps the people that live here in New Britain. So thank you so much for everything that you do. The accidents. I'm so sorry that you guys feel unsafe in Washington Street or the park area. Nobody should have to live here and feel unsafe. Everybody should feel like they're safe and they're protected. The speeding of the cars is an issue throughout the city. Yes, it is a problem in other areas, but we're talking about New Britain. The accident with the hit and run, I was there. I called 911 that day. I saw the accident. The stories that are being made up about what happened, I saw what happened. So I have some huge concerns about some things that were said by our administration about the accident, and this victim blaming that we have that is going on in this city with these accidents is very, very upsetting to me. And everybody knows me here. Usually I'm very happy, I'm smiling all the time, but this is very frustrating for me because I do not appreciate blaming victims, okay? And I don't even think that we should be calling him a young man because he is a minor. He went across the street in an intersection and was struck by a speeding car, and the driver continued to drive away. And while waiting for 911 to respond and everything, we witnessed, and even afterwards witnessed, several cars pass through the same intersection and run the light. So I am standing here telling you what I saw with my own 2 eyes, okay? And I am heartbroken that this family is going through what it's going through right now, and that they have to come here and be questioned about what they said with the police. I mean, it's just wrong. We have to protect our kids, you know? Even if it doesn't matter, he was crossing a street and he was hit. And he's a child, he is a minor, he is under the age of 18, and he was struck by a car. And we're blaming him for that? Like, what is going on here? Huh? So I noticed some victim blaming. So that's, I think, that's pretty much all I have to say, I think. And I hope that we can come to a solution here and support our families and keep our kids safe. I really appreciate everybody in the community that was there that day. Everybody protected him. Everybody looked out for each other. So I'm just glad that you're with us to tell the story, because we've had so many incidents like this with people not being here to tell us the story. You're welcome.
Remarks from other people. Sorry, thank you. Alderman Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To Frank Chase and the folks concerned about flooding, I'm going to say the same thing I've said to you guys plenty of times before. Thank you for being out here. Keep on us. I know the progress is slow. I agree. It's annoying. But our goal as, you know, at least one caucus, I can't speak for everybody, but it is to get these Allen Street improvements done. I have made recommendations that maybe instead of having to dig up the entire street, maybe that we can induce a flow on Allen Street. And I appreciate, I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting your name, but the director of our Ray Esponda, thank you. I do applaud your efforts in trying to get a plan forward, but I don't think anybody is satisfied with the speed that it's coming at. So please do keep on us. I do thank anybody who is considering leaving New Britain to stay, because I've had that conversation with myself plenty. Growing up in New Britain, I saw almost all of my friends either join the military or they got a job somewhere else, and they said, forget this place. And I recognize by doing that the issues are still here, which is why we have 30-year-long flooding issues, which is why we have such persistent speeding issues here. For the folks at Washington Park, thank you for coming out. I was totally oblivious to this. And while I do believe parks are for everybody, it's on everybody to act as stewards of these parks. We must take care of them. We must be considerate of one another. And if that means don't party till, you know, the sun comes up, that's fine. Parks aren't open during the dark anyway, except in very lighted areas, and at least at Walnut Hill, I think they're open until 10 p.m. or something like that. To our council staff person, again, I was totally oblivious to this altercation, but in my experience, Jessica has been extremely fair. Not once has she told me to go do something by myself, and as a new alder person, I greatly appreciate that. She's been here almost 10 or 11 years, and I can tell she puts up with a lot because she puts up with me, frankly. What else here? To Juan Gomez, I am so sorry that you had to endure what you did, but I am so glad that you're here today, because not everybody is, whether it's their choice or not, whether they have a life to get back to or not. My background is in urbanism, and I can tell you that I do not believe that the solution to solving our speeding problems is punitive. It is preventative, and it is within city planning, it is within making our streets more narrow, it is within having speed bumps, right? Because people aren't considerate, again, of the people in their neighborhood, of the stop signs that are there for a reason. I live on Monroe Street, and I see people every single day blow through the stop sign in front of my house, right next to the elementary school that I went to. My background is in urbanism. I understand these planning techniques and whatnot, and just, I don't feel safe in this city. And I don't have a car. I do walk almost everywhere I go. You will see me walk from this building to my house after this meeting, and I see the craziness. I agree. And it's residents, it's non-residents, sometimes it's police, sometimes it's not. But the point is slow down. I know people put on the GPS, and when it says 20 minutes, a lot of people go, I bet I can make it there in 18. But God forbid you kill somebody over 2 minutes. You're gonna be fine. Slow down. I guess that's all I have.
Any other remarks? Any other remarks?
Right.
Alderman Santiago.
Are you going to pass me?
No,
No, I'm just joking. Mr. Chase, appreciate you coming every meeting. At least somebody comes, to be honest. I know the concerns you have, and what I say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right, or the grease. So, on that case, I know from the state level there's some talks going on that we'll be having some kind of review of that area with the help of Ray, that we'll find some kind of solution. This is the month of rain, right? So where the floods are, concerns are every time you see forecasts of rain, is your backyard or is your basement going to be a pool or somebody's else? It's just disturbing to that point. And for the information that was given prior meetings about how now the insurances are dropping these homes, and you won't be able to sell these homes because, again, who's going to, the insurance companies that won't take cover them, which is not fair for you individuals, especially that have been staying here for 30 years or plus, surviving this whole disturbance. And to the accident, Juan, I'm sorry, young man. I have kids. I would have, as mother, father, as a father, to hear that your child had got hit by a car, it's, the questions is going in your head. And one of them was, I shouldn't have sent them to go to the store. You know what I mean? Just the idea of regular quality life situations, and you're looking at it as you could die from. Again, you could walk out of your doorway and something could happen. But the point of it is that he should not have to be thinking that way when he's crossing on the streets. And Broad Street, this lately has been chaotic between him, the young woman, the woman that got hit also with a hit and run. The point of the accident, even if it was, God forbid, that was his fault, the point of the reaction of fleeing of the scene, not concerned of the individual that you hit, that could have, it could have been another issue besides him that he's walking at least right now. That's mind-boggling that these individuals are thinking this way, Yes, I did put that press release out. And I feel that just because of that press release, we're getting some kind of response, some action. Might not be quick, but you know what? It's bringing attention. We've been putting it out, petitions. We've been doing all kinds of things. The 4 years that I was councilman, I was heavy on that. Heavy on the speeding that was going on. Four-wheeling. Thank goodness that this Wednesday passed, our state legislative, on a bipartisan, had just passed a legislative to enforce the municipalities and the police enforcement on the ATVs and the dirt bikes and all that, the takeover, street takeovers. So there's a collaboration going on in that part. With the parks, I'm having the same issue. I live right there on Elam Persian, dead end, right where Osgood Park is. Prior to the park getting done, I used to have the same issues with individuals using that area as a parking lot. I couldn't even get out of my driveway. I used to have to walk up the hill, ask these individuals, please, if this was your home, would you want people parked in front of your house? In front of your house, but blocking my driveway, it's not right. And of course, they get all frustrated and everything else, and they're moving around. And well, again, the reason why now we have this park, beautiful park with parking spaces. Utilize it. They don't want to, it's all about accessibility, right? On Washington Park, I saw the concerns of it, but I also saw Alderwomen respond to that with the petition. So why, double beat the horse twice, right? So I allowed that to see what the responses are for that part. And then see, of course, I would have the chief and the deputy chief here, and of course, they're watching and listening. But as a whole, I feel you, Wilma. I feel you on that part about the whole, this toxic, vibe that's going on here. I came in here, again, people had asked me why I ran again, right? I ran 4 years ago, I lost, right? Take a loss and go back. But no, because I came to fight for the people that I live in, that I love. New Britain has been like a home to me since I came here. I've lived here 20 years now. I raised all my kids here. I didn't have the thought of moving out because you know why? New Britain accepted me for who I was, of the individual that I was before to where I am now. It's a 360, 100% 360. And I wanted to do the same thing, give back to New Britain. And this is what I felt like it was representing. Yes, I might come through sometimes a little bit different than others. It's because that's who I am. I have a thick skin. I grew with that skin from all my prior experiences. And you know what? I'm glad to have these individuals here that could kind of shake me up a little bit, might throw a little bit of salt or a little bit of whatever it is. But you know what? It's experiences, it's life. And I'm hoping that we could kind of get together, really and actually find the solution for Chase or the individuals on Brush, on Washington Street, or for the hit and runs or the accidents that's going on. As a council, as a whole, we should be doing this. Thank you.
Any other remarks? Any other remarks? Seeing none, I just conclude with two things. Take a larger view of this, our council office. Any other city with this form of government has a council office that has more than one full-time employee. And in my estimation, Ms. Giarratana is a civil servant, a professional, and makes me wait in line to others when I make a request. So I hope, I just want to say, I'm committed to a collaborative process with the party opposite. I think the traffic calming issue is something that the whole council is going to focus its attention on. We have 170 miles of roads in New Britain, and enforcement is probably the best antidote. But 170 miles of roads and the traffic divisions of the police department, it is a heavy load for them. So I recognize that, and I'm sure the chief would have a word with you folks. If you haven't spoken to him already, he's in the back of the room. And with that, I'm going to conclude public participation. The regular meeting will begin shortly. It is now 8:11. I have many folks reminding me to state the time.
She on her way? Very personally related, yeah, it's, when I got home, I thought about that, actually. Oh, today, I just started cracking up about these people. Oh, well, where were you last night? Where were you all last night? I love social media more. You gotta show up, sometimes you just gotta show up.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna start calling it. I didn't say what it is. Some investigations that you should follow for process. Of course, you should. Of course, we're gonna pursue the person. Unfortunately, she's out audio and video staying in the police department. Saying that she agrees with herself. She's the one who's talking about this. And I'll show you. Somebody's got something. Sorry.
Where did you bring it? Never say no to a bathroom. You're sitting next to the cleaner going to the bathroom.
They're stalling out. Go.
Now I gotta find this. I can start to find it. Oh, no, I can't, because I don't wanna miss, I can't do that. Walking in.
I think we're ready to get started. If all alderpersons could please take their seats. Okay. All right, I would like to call to order this regular meeting of the New Britain Common Council. The date is April 24th, 2024. The time is 8:19 PM. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderpersons McNamara.
Here.
Smedley. Sanchez. Beloit Saavedra. Simpson.
Present.
Russell. Barbosa. Hargraves. McAdam. Gibson. Scott.
Here.
Connors.
Here.
Malinowski. Pabon. Santiago. 14 present, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. May you all please rise for the invocation. It will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. O God, Heavenly Father, as we celebrate Passover and the Americans of Polish and Jewish descent who had a burning desire to make New Britain or America their home and who contributed to our nation's independence, we recognize the many who made our lives better through their ingenuity, hard work, and creativity, not only in New Britain, but nationwide. We ask this in thy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll move right along into the minutes this evening. Alderman Santiago.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept the minutes of the regular meeting of March 27, 2024, and the special meeting of March 28, 2024, and April 10, 2024.
I have a second by Alderwoman Sanchez. Are there any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I don't have any amendments to the agenda, right, Alderman? Mr. Clerk, move right into petitions tonight.
We have three. Number one is from Alderman Carrier, or I'm sorry, Attorney Carrier on behalf of Ellis Street Mill LLC to amend the A-Rudd District Master Plan for the property known as 321 Ellis Street, adopted pursuant to Section 175-10 of the zoning ordinances of the City of New Britain to allow for the development of a solar photovoltaic facility and serve the 154 apartment units in the existing factory building in accordance with the plans and memorandum attached hereto.
Send that to City Plan and also the Zoning Committee.
Okay, number two from Alderwoman Scott, for the appropriate departments to create an online business directory, including all businesses within the City of New Britain, to be listed on the city website.
Mayor's Office.
Okay. Number three from Alderwoman Barbosa, for the Public Works Department and any other appropriate departments to give an update on the installation of netting or other safety mechanisms around Chesley Park.
I'm going to send that to the Parks and Recreation Department, where I think that it originally originated.
Great. That's it, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. All right, Alderman Santiago.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept the consent agenda of items A, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I.
And I have a second from Alderwoman Sanchez. Any questions or comments on that? Mr. Clerk?
Alderpersons McNamara.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Beloit Saavedra.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Russell. Barbosa.
Yes.
Hargraves. McAdam.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Scott. Connors.
Yes.
Malinowski. Santiago.
Yes.
14-0, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Item B, Alderman McNamara.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a response from the Finance Department to my petition 36453, and I make a motion to refer item B to the Committee on Administration, Finance and Law, and Public Services.
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Santiago.
And on the motion, Your Honor, if I may,
Please.
the response from the Finance Director I find insufficient and deserves a further review with regard to how the council is notified and the opinion on the charter expressed in his report. This was a unanimous vote of the Common Council, the last Common Council, 6 of whom are still with us, and signed to do a transfer. So I think it deserves some vetting in the AFL committee, and I move adoption, referral, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the referral? I'm sorry, AFL?
It's the new title and public services.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Am I supposed to call it AFLPS?
Yes.
Right? Anyways, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next report, K, Alderman Santiago.
J.
Oh, J, sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept item J.
Second by Alderwoman Sanchez.
Also, I make a motion to amend the last paragraph by changing the committee the resolution should be referred to, the Committee on Planning, Zoning, and Housing instead of the Committee on Administrative Finance and Law and Public Services. Right?
Do you want to?
Do I do the urge
Do
adoption?
you
or-
want to just accept and refer it back to that committee? That would be an easier motion.
There you go.
Do you want to, you could just change your motion. You just say you make a motion to accept and refer to.
But then that's the, because we have the other one that's going to refer back to, that actually the report that's, because remember this was from Consolidated.
You want to ask Corp Counsel?
Yeah.
Can we get an opinion from our Corp Counsel, please, on the proper way to do this?
Trying to follow, I didn't hear the discussion,
So
so
the
I don't even know
original
what the
petition,
debate
the
is.
original resolution was in Consolidated, got brought back here because Consolidated was limited.
Okay.
And so now this report was, because of where it's supposed to be going to now, it's supposed to be going to public zoning and housing instead of where we had originally put it to committee, where it was going to go to was administrative finance and law. How would that be? Because then we also have the resolution itself that we would have to amend also. Well, no, we didn't amend, we don't have to amend that one.
So this is just the report?
Yes.
At this point?
Yes.
I mean, it could be referred, it doesn't, I don't think it needs to be amended at all.
Technically, you could just accept.
That's acceptable.
Technically, you could accept it as is because what matters is the resolution.
You're just, right, this is just a
Right.
report, I think it just be
Okay.
accepted without any sort of amendment, Alderman.
It could.
Guess what? Then I rebutted the motion to amend and just leave as a motion to accept item J.
Okay. All right, do I have a second on that? Second by Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
And I was just
Questions,
done.
comments? Thank you, sir. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion
then
carries.
same thing with
Same thing with K. But
Thank you. I make a motion to accept item K
Second by Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
and I urge acceptance.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Resolution number 1 this evening, Alderwoman Scott.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt number 1, Resolution 1.
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Santiago. Alderwoman?
This resolution is from the Compensation Committee. We met on January 22nd and the 25th, 2024, and all the meetings were open to the public. And during those meetings, we discussed and we did some research, and we decided to increase the registered voters by $5,000. And this will be in January 6, 2025. And I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Are there any other questions or comments on this item? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No, for the record.
For the record, Alderman Smedley and Alderman Hargraves. Motion carries. Alderman Scott, resolution number 2. I'm sorry, Alderman Simpson, resolution number 2.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 2.
I have a second from Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
Oh, I'm so sorry. This is an amendment to the Code of Ordinances regarding council subject matter committees. This was discussed extensively in our subcommittee meetings And essentially what it does is it eliminates the required number of committees from 3 to undefined, and it allows the leadership of the Common Council to temporarily chair subcommittee meetings.
Thank you, Alderman. Are there any further questions or comments on this item? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, Alderwoman Scott. Got ahead of myself
Thank
there,
you.
sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept item number 3.
Second?
Second by Alderman Santiago. Alderwoman?
Okay, so this resolution is, again, for the Composition Committee, and it is to amend Section 2-338, the Code of the Ordinance, to be consistent with the charter on the town clerk and tax collector position, to add treasurer and common council members and clerk of committees to the section, so that this will allow these positions so that they shall have the same, the local 1186 for the fiscal year. And this will be after the next election, after this mayoral election, November 2023. And I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Are there any questions or comments on this item? Alderman Hargreaves, followed by Alderman Simpson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I rise to speak in opposition of this resolution. I don't believe that part-time elected officials should be receiving annual raises. I understand if you're full-time, you should be getting COLA raises, but these are essentially stipends that are given to common council members, clerk of committees, treasurer. So I don't believe that we should be getting annual raises or biannual raises here. The common council did just receive, and other part-time elected officials, just this past November, and I don't think it should be happening on a regular basis. And my second point is, this is tied to local 1186 contract raises. This body approves those 1186 contracts when it comes to this body. So I don't think that as us approving those new contracts, that we should be approving that to go with our own raises. So it's for those reasons I oppose this resolution today. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Hargreaves. Alderman Simpson.
Just want to say that I've had a lot of moral struggles with this resolution. This city is upheld by workers, and for us to attach ourselves to a union contract without actually contributing to the benefits and to the efforts of that union makes me very, very wary. And to Alderman Hargreaves' point, we do vote on that contract, and when somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, when city employees are voting on the budget, they may have to recuse themselves if they are also on the common council. Is this correct or no? No? Okay. Should be, but it's not, yeah. So I feel very uneasy about this. And this also comes at a time where, you know, we're crying and moaning about school money, right? I really don't like the idea of giving elected officials a raise in a time where we are beating on our chest time and time again and trying to find essentially scraps for public education, especially in a public education system that I grew up in. And so I'm just very uneasy about this, and I would encourage anybody on the council with a more solid reason to vote for this to bring that forward here. I'm very undecided on this motion.
Thank you, Alderman Simpson. Any other alderperson wish to address this item? Sure, Alderman
Just to
Hargreaves.
answer Alderman Simpson's question, I think city employees can vote on the budget, but they typically will not vote on their specific union contract to avoid a conflict. Thank you.
Any other alderperson wish to make a comment on this item? No? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No for the record.
Anybody opposed?
No.
Oh,
Roll call.
can I get 3 tushies? Mr. Clerk. I need 3 people to stay in order to have a roll call. I heard a lot of different voices and I couldn't make the distinction, so I'm gonna have Mr. Clerk call the roll.
Alderpersons McNamara,
Aye.
Smedley,
No.
Sanchez,
No.
Beloin Saavedra,
Yes.
Simpson,
This is for, oh, I'm sorry. Too many mics
Oh,
Oh, here. Try now.
Just to clarify, voting no on this means we will not be getting raises, correct?
That is correct.
No.
Russell, Barbosa,
No.
Hargraves,
No.
McAdam,
No.
Gibson,
No.
Scott,
Yes.
Connors. Connors.
No.
Malinowski. Santiago.
Yes.
4 yes, 10 no, Your Honor.
Motion fails. Surprise! All right, Alderman Santiago, we'll move on to item number 4.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 4.
Second by Alderwoman Sanchez.
This is item number 36405, to amend the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, Section 2-566, to provide transparency in government by requiring a report to the council once a contract has been signed by all parties, and I urge adoption.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on this item? All those in favor, please say aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
Vote. Mr. Clerk?
Damn.
This is number 4, Your Honor. Resolution number 4?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Alderpersons McNamara,
Aye.
Smedley,
No.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Beloin Saavedra,
No.
Simpson,
Yes.
Russell,
No.
Barbosa,
Yes.
Hargraves,
No.
McAdam,
Yes.
Gibson,
No.
Scott, Connors,
Yes.
Malinowski,
No.
Santiago,
Yes.
8 to 6, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Alderman McNamara, item number 5.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt number 5.
Second by Alderman Santiago.
And through you on the motion, this is to amend the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 22, Section 22-9 and 22-10, to provide transparency in government by requiring a report be submitted to council once an agreement has been fully signed by all parties. I urge adoption.
Any questions or comments on the
Yes,
item?
Your Honor.
Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
To the makers or supporters of this resolution, the second page of the resolution, number 5, where it used to read, once a tax modification agreement which was approved by the Common Council has been signed by all parties, a report shall be submitted. But the majority caucus has removed the words, which was approved by the Common Council. And I would like clarification as to why those words, since it's accurate, are being removed.
Anyone wish to respond? Alderman Connors.
Thank you, Your Honor. From my recollection at committee, this was a bit of a catch-22. There was a discussion whether anybody, except this body, could promulgate a tax abatement agreement. Obviously, there is no other body that can do so, so to leave the language in might infer that there was some other body out there that could do that, so we took it out to provide clarification. It was kind of a lose-lose, because in either situation, someone would be happy either at the addition or removal of the language. But again, it was decided to remove the language so as to provide the clarification that there are no other bodies that could possibly promulgate any sort of tax abatement agreement. And through you, thank you, Your Honor.
Alderwoman?
And in committee, as I will do so now, I totally disagreed with that. To me, it seems like a camouflage attempt to remove the acknowledgement that the Common Council had already seen and approved the tax modification components. I objected to it in committee, I object to it now. It's also, the same language is removed in another section further on. The pages aren't numbered, so I can't, but two different sections in here. It removes the reference to the council had already approved it. I, again, strongly objected in committee because I think it's a camouflage attempt. Or as one person in committee said, it removes redundancy, which then, of course, my retort was, well, this entire resolution is redundant. Thank you, Your Honor, for that reason. I'll be voting against it.
Any other alderperson wish to comment on the item at hand? Okay.
Roll call.
All right. Mr. Clerk, roll call on item number 5.
Alderpersons McNamara.
Aye.
Smedley.
No.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Beloin Saavedra.
No.
Simpson.
Yes.
Russell.
No.
I'll put a plus by that one.
Apologies, my mic was turned up.
Barbosa.
Yes.
Okay. Hargraves. No. McAdam. Yes. Gibson. No. Scott.
Yes.
Connors.
Yes.
Malinowski.
No.
Santiago.
Yes.
8-6, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Alderwoman Scott, item number 6.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept 6 and item number 6 and refer to Committee on Administration, Finance, and Law.
Do I have a second?
And Public Services.
Second by Alderman Simpson.
This is the resolution on faulty equipment and giving some time for homeowners when there may be a problem with their water bill. So we'll be referring it back to committee.
Thank you, Alderwoman.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments on the referral? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman McAdam, item number 7.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept item number 7, referred to Committee Planning, Zoning, and Housing.
I have a second from Alderman Santiago.
This is in regards to the loitering and the changing the wording to nothing in this article shall be construed to prohibit individuals to sit, stand, eat, consume non-alcoholic beverages, sleep, converse, pray, and/or read in public places, parks, and sidewalks. And I urge referral.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments on the referral? Alderman Smedley?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just rise to state that I'm in opposition to this referral and the resolution, as I was in prior meetings. We're removing tools, and we heard from our business owners a few weeks ago about how important it was for our police department to have tools related to items 7 and 8 to be able to continue to promote the growth of our downtown district. So for that reason, I am opposed to this item for referral and will oppose it continuing on. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from any other alderperson regarding item number 7? Alderman Santiago.
Yes, Your Honor. This came from Consolidated, which, again, it was eliminated, so we had to bring it back to the council, in which, prior to that, we were having further discussions that we wanted to kind of look into it even further to find some common grounds, and so that way that we have the business, we did have the conversation, we did listen to the residents and also the business owners that came in, but again, we want to do it as a whole. We was hoping that would be some kind of common ground between both sides, and I urge for the referral.
Any other questions or comments on item number 7? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No. Party line.
Party line? Okay. Motion carries. Referred to Planning, Zoning, and Housing. Alderwoman McAdam, item number 8.
I make a motion to accept item number 8. It says 7, just clerical, sorry, but it's 8. And refer to the Committee of Planning, Zoning, and Housing.
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Santiago.
This is in regards to panhandling, to lower the fine from $99 to $10 for first offense, $15 for second, and $20 for the third, and I urge referral.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Are there any questions or comments on this item? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No. Party line.
Party line, motion carries. Alderman Simpson, item number 9.
Thank you, Your Honor. I rise to make a motion to accept and adopt item number 9.
Second from Alderwoman Sanchez.
Thank you. This is an acknowledgement from the City Council of the Jewish holiday of Passover. And can I read the language here? Allowing us to take a breath. To her honor, the Mayor and the Common Council of the City of New Britain, the undersigned beg leave to recommend the adoption of the following. Whereas the City of New Britain recognizes and values diversity of its residents and their cultural heritage, and whereas the holiday of Passover, known as, and forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, I've had help with it, Pesach in Hebrew, holds profound significance in the Jewish faith as it commemorates the liberation of the Israelites from the slavery in Egypt as described in the book of Exodus, and whereas Passover commenced on April 22nd, 2024, and ends April 30th, 2024, and whereas Passover is a time for reflection, remembrance, and celebration, marking the journey from oppression to freedom and the enduring commitment to justice, dignity, and human rights, and whereas the observance of Passover includes the retelling of the Exodus story during the Seder meal, the consumption of symbolic foods such as matzah and bitter herbs, and the avoidance of leavened bread, connecting one's history, identity, and faith, and now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of New Britain reaffirms its dedication to fostering an inclusive and respectful community, and be it further resolved that the City of New Britain hereby acknowledges the Jewish holiday of Passover and its significance to the Jewish community, and be it further resolved that the Common Council extends its warmest wishes to all of those celebrating Passover. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Any questions or comments on this item? Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
Just a shout out to John Board, who actually wrote this resolution, and I collaborated with Nate. Actually, I threw it over to Nate for him to edit it and present it in a timely fashion to get on tonight's agenda. But shout out to John Board for writing it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this item? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Malinowski, item number 10.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item 10.
Seconded by Alderman Santiago.
And this item is a recognition of Polish heritage, whereas it is important to celebrate Poland by raising the Polish flag to show and value Polish heritage as part of American culture. By raising our flag, we pay tribute to the Polish heroes who fought and died for our homeland, as well as America. At the same time, we demonstrate how important it is for us to remember the history of our country and Polish-American relations. And whereas also we want to share the many contributions of Polish people to the United States of America, starting with the first Polish settlers who arrived at Jamestown, Virginia in 1608 for their ability to produce glass and tar. Then those like General Tadeusz Kosciuszko and General Kazimierz Pulaski, who fought for America's freedom during the American Revolutionary War, and whereas millions of Poles also emigrated later and worked hard to build America, including Zbigniew Brzezinski and Stephen Wozniak, who created and developed Apple I and Apple II computers, and James Pawelczyk and Scott Edward Parzynski, the first Polish-American astronauts, and whereas red, courage, self-sacrifice, and struggles for freedom, white, peace and purity, the flag is for us the symbol of our heritage and where we come from. The Polish flag has been used for centuries, and it's a symbol of our pride and identity. Through the ceremony of raising the flag, we express respect and love for our nation, and whereas, therefore, be it resolved, that the City of New Britain encourages all residents to celebrate the accomplishments, sacrifices, contributions, and prosperity of our friends and neighbors of Polish descent by attending a flag-raising ceremony on May 2nd at 10 a.m. in Central Park and commemorating the signing of the Polish Constitution on May 3rd. And I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman Malinowski. Any questions or comments regarding this? We'd like you to read it in Polish now.
Your Honor, can you hold your breath until I complete that?
We asked that. I wonder if you could.
We can always ask Deputy Chief Rumbish to do it, because I know he can. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman McNamara, item 11.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item 11.
Second from Alderman Hargraves.
Thank you. This is an 18,904 purchase to Clearspan Structures for freestanding structures for the Public Works Department. I think this has something to do with the new facility or storage to allow that transition to occur. So I move adoption.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on this item? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman McNamara?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is cooperative purchasing, $1,685,000 to Tilcon, Connecticut. Oh, I'm sorry. Make a motion to accept and adopt number 12.
Second.
Second from Alderman Santiago.
Thank you. Again, this is cooperative purchasing to Tilcon, Connecticut for $1.685 million for bituminous concrete material, as well as $205,000 to Garrity Asphalt Reclaiming for milling of bituminous concrete of various city streets. And I think we've received today our street paving schedule, much appreciated. The funds for this come from the state LoSiP and Town Aid Program, of which the city is receiving this year $2.3 million. So that's the source of funding, and I move adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. The reason why it takes so long to put that program together is because they try to coordinate with the natural gas, with CNG, to figure out where they're going to be doing the work so that we're not paving streets that they're going to be working on. Hence why you didn't get it until now, because we just found out that Governor Street was a part of that work, and so that was taken off. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Malinowski.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item 13.
Second from Alderman Smedley.
And this is for cooperative purchasing equipment and services for traffic signal detection equipment and installation of pavement markings on various streets. And the traffic signal detection equipment is in the amount of $52,516. And the pavement markings are in the amount of $72,484. And I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any questions or comments on this item? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman McAdam, item 14.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 14.
Second by Alderman Russell.
This is for $10,000 to go with New Britain Recovers initiatives. $5,000 will go to Youth Leadership Council to be trained in peer-to-peer prevention education, and $5,000 will go to trauma-informed training for the community at large. And I ask questions first.
You want to ask questions?
Yeah, ask questions before adoption. Right? Can Mallory come up? We ask you a question, please. Thank you. We were just wondering, for the $5,000 used for trauma-informed training for community at large, who is the community at large? Is it just people in the community in general, or?
Yes, so it's going to be offered through our New Britain Recovers partners, and any of their participants, any of you guys, anyone really, will put a release out once we get the money. Through our sustainability committee from New Britain Recovers, we'll be identifying some trainings. When we first got funded in 2021, we did a community large training on trauma-informed, recovery-oriented systems of care, and it was well attended, and people tended to like that, so we're going to offer that again.
All right, thank you so much.
Any other
I urge
questions?
adoption.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. DePrey? No? Thanks. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Simpson, item number 15.
Thank you, Your Honor. I rise to make a motion to accept and adopt item number 15.
Second by Alderwoman Sanchez.
This is a $30,000, doesn't specify if grant, but I'm assuming grant here, from the Homeless Prevention Fund, Homeless Prevention to, I'm so sorry. This resolution allows for the receipt of homeless prevention funding of $30,000 to the Community Foundation, from the Community Foundation of Greater New Britain. This will help with our homelessness prevention programs in the city, and I urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman Simpson. Are there any questions or comments on
I do have.
this item. Alderman Simpson.
I do have one proposed amendment to this resolution. Seeing as the council is granting, upon approval of this resolution, granting the mayor to receive full authority to execute all contracts in receipt of Building Hope Together, or really whatever program, but for this resolution specifically, I would like to add the language under the second to last paragraph, be it further resolved that all contracts relating to this resolution, once signed by all parties and executed, to be reported to the Common Council by the next regular meeting of the Common Council.
Second.
You have a second on the amendment? Second by Alderman Santiago on that amendment. Is there any discussion on the amendment that's been offered? All right, we'll vote on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No.
Anybody opposed?
No, party line.
Motion carries. It's as amended once. Alderman Simpson, would you like to add anything else? Now discussion, Mr. Clerk. Yeah, you're gonna have to write that down and give that to him. And now back to the discussion on the item at hand. Any further questions or comments on the item as amended once? Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
Can we just have Mallory come back up and just talk a little bit about the money? You just got 10,000 in a previous resolution, now this is 30,000, and since the council has been so focused on the unhoused and what the city does in relationship to that population, can you talk a little bit about this?
Sure. So we actively search for grants that can help this population of our residents. And this specific grant is to keep people housed. So people that might fallen on hardship or, fell behind on their rent, but can prove that they can sustain their rent moving forward. We're able to help bring them up to speed. Also, it's focused on folks maybe moving out of shelter that are moving into an apartment that might need a security deposit. Again, it's only $30,000. We allocate up to $2,000 per family to allow us to serve 15 families.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on the item? Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Santiago?
Thank you, Your Honor. Make a motion to accept and adopt item number 16.
Second by Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
I also have to make a motion to amend by removing the list of my name that's on it twice, under the Committee on Administration, Finance, and Law.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra. Mr. Clerk, you got that? Motion was made to remove Alderman Francisco Santiago's name from being duplicative underneath the Committee on Administration, Finance, and Law, seconded by Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra. Any questions or comments on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Back to the discussion on the item as amended once. Alderman Santiago.
I also like to make amendment to the name, to change the name that is to community to be the Committee on Administration, Finance, and Law and Public Service.
And Public Service. I have a second from Alderman Connors on that. Any questions or comments on that amendment? Committee on Administration, Finance, Law, and Public Service. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Back to the discussion and on the original resolution as amended twice. Alderman Santiago.
Thank you, Your Honor. Is to amend the appointed of Common Council Committee's members, and I urge adoption.
You got it.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the item as amended twice? All those in favor, please say, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Smedley, last item.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Just call it.
I make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 17.
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman Beloin Saavedra.
Thank you. This item is related to a federal highway and safety funds grant for overtime to increase enforcement efforts to reduce distracted driving within our city, and I do urge adoption.
Thank you, Alderman. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Made by Alderwoman Sanchez, seconded by Alderwoman McAdam. All those in favor, please say aye. We're adjourned. The time is 8:57 PM. Have a great night.